Well, let's get more now on the resumption of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Was due to begin again today. You'll remember, of course, the pause 3 weeks ago when there were 6 cases of blood clots found in the U.S. after 6.6 million doses of the vaccine had been administered. Let's speak now to the CEO of the SA Health Products Regulatory Authority, Dr. Boitumelo Semeta. Dr. Semeta, good evening to you and thank you for your time on the pulse. Is the process that was followed when health workers were being vaccinated at the beginning of the Sisonke trial with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, is that process, that protocol, exactly the same as the protocol that is being followed as that vaccination process resumes, or is it slightly different?
Great, and thank you again for having me on your show. So, with the data that was made available to us by the Sisonke team, and also considering the data from the U.S. on those 6, now looking about 7 or 8 cases, we had to review the protocol. And I think that's the importance of having such implementation studies ongoing, because you gather more data. So what we've done is we have requested that the study team amend the protocol. They've done so, and that's why we can resume with the study. The 2 critical differences really are that now we have included in there that there's more stringent and more increased screening and monitoring, but also that the patient-informed, consent-informed, as well as the participant, so the participant-informed consent documents, that they're updated to reflect some of these symptoms and some of these rare blood clotting conditions, so that when a participant does take a vaccine, they are educated on these. So those are really some of the critical inclusions into the protocol.
So what had to happen between the announcement of the pause in the rollout of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and today? How much work was going on behind the scenes there?
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of work, really. We had to look at all the data. We had to bring our experts, even in terms of these vascular disorders, these thrombotic type of rare conditions, but also take time to look at the data that is available outside of South Africa. We've had to consult also with the WHO, etc. So there's really been a lot of consultation and a lot of data that we've reviewed. And that's why we can now say, with confidence that the study can resume. We will continue to monitor this. COVID is a new disease. We're getting new information quite regularly. So as a regulator, we're staying on top of all the data and, we will continue to monitor. Even with the rollout itself, we have indicated in, the conditions for approval for both the Pfizer as well as the J&J vaccine, that there must be continuous post-market surveillance.
Market surveillance, in other words, once someone's actually been vaccinated, there'll be some sort of surveillance.
Exactly. There'll be some sort of monitoring. We've also launched what we call the Mass Safety app together with the Department of Health. And again, there'll be a mechanism wherein the vaccinees can, report on these various tools and notify us of any side effects that they are experiencing.
So the Sisonke study, so the vaccines which resumed today, those doses, are what's called a phase, if I get this correct, a phase 3B study. In other words, this is sort of mass testing, right? Thank you. So now from the 17th of May, it's a magic date, I think, on many people's calendar, is the second phase of the rollout. That's for people over 60, people who have some sort of vulnerability to COVID-19. Has everything that's happened over the last month or so around the Johnson & Johnson vaccine affected that date at all? And I realize you represent the authority, you're the CEO of the authority, but you're obviously on the same WhatsApp group, I'd like to think, as all of the people involved in this. Do you expect that date to be affected by everything that's happened with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine?
No, not quite. We don't expect it to be. I think the critical, change is that the learnings from the Sisonke study are then will be built into, the actual rollout, where we continue to monitor the vaccinees quite stringently. But from a logistics perspective, our role as a regulator is that we still expect the vaccine to arrive, and we do the quality control analysis, and then it's available for then the mass rollout.
So in other words, all of this shouldn't slow things down. We should really be able to move into second and third gear as a country from the 17th of May. There's no regulatory sort of roadblock in the way of that.
No, not at this stage with the information that we have. We don't know what we will find out tomorrow regarding COVID. But as we speak, with the facts we have today, the rollout can continue as is.
And then the vaccines that can be used currently in South Africa, as I understand it, would be Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer. There are applications from, I think, the Sinovac vaccine and Sputnik. I don't know if it's Sputnik V or Sputnik 5. I think it's Sputnik V. Are you expecting to give some sort of yes or no to those fairly soon?
Yeah, so we've been engaging actually this week with both the applicant for the Sputnik vaccine and the Sinovac, and we're in discussions with them. There's more data that we require. So as soon as, these processes typically take some time because you go through quite a lot of data. It's quality data, it's safety data, and it's efficacy data. And in our context, we also had to engage with them around, the B1351 variant. And so, there's a lot that goes into these reviews, but we've engaged with them. And, as soon as we've got all the information, we should be able to make a regulatory decision. I can't say at this point, what the timeframes will be, but as I said, we've engaged with them. We need to make sure that we've got all the required data.
Doctor, I really do appreciate the time. Thank you, Dr. Poitumelo Someta, the CEO.